Hello, everyone. Welcome to the new Charmed 2018 podcast. Phelan, what do you think I should call it? Charmed Hard with a Vengeance, maybe?
Charmed the new classes.
Charmed the next generation.
Thinking that one too.
Well, we just watched the pilot for the new Charmed remake, and it just premiered yesterday, so it's pretty fresh on everyone's minds. Just initially, what'd you think of it, Phelan?
Mixed thoughts. Maybe it will be okay, but the characters were kind of annoying in some ways in this first episode. But that could go several ways. It's a pilot, so I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like overall my thoughts are pretty positive. Like, I liked it pretty well. There were some imperfections there, and I think we'll probably agree on some points there. Some of it is because it's a pilot, and there's just some things you have to deal with in pilots. It follows a lot of what happens in the original Charmed. You got the sisters coming together after a tragic death, except this time it's their mother instead of Grandma Ghost. And they discover they have a long-lost sister. So they're doing the plot with Rose McGowan's character early this time.
Yeah, they get Paige right away and no Prue.
No Prue, yeah. She's sort of the Prue equivalent, isn't she? She sort of seems like it.
Maybe the angry one?
Well, yeah, I guess the angry one would be more like it.
Yeah, the angry one, I already forget their names. It's probably it'll take a little bit.
Yeah, they're doing M names this time around. The angry one is Mel. The young kind of Phoebe equivalent is Maggie, and the scientifically inclined long-lost sister is Macy.
Okay. The angriness with Mel also is very Piper, so...
Leo!
Who did you say the Phoebe one is?
Maggie.
Maggie.
Yeah, I had to check my notes.
Whenever Mel was annoyed with Maggie, it came off pretty Pipery sometimes, like expecting her to be like, ugh, I hate her.
Well, that was kind of Prue in the pilot, though. Prue was really angry at Phoebe because their dad left them.
Yeah.
I think maybe they were implying he was dead, though, weren't they? And then he wasn't.
Through a lot of the series, though, just like imagine Piper just like, oh, I hate having to deal with anything.
That's true. Well, that's what's nice about this new series is that it doesn't have any of the baggage that comes with the old Charmed series, because when Charmed initially started, the early seasons, there's a lot of dumb stuff about them, and there's some of it's just because it's late 90s Buffy ripoff kind of thing. Some of it's just because the genre, but it didn't start out as bad as it got with Charmed. The first few seasons I thought were pretty enjoyable, if kind of stupid sometimes.
Yeah.
And this doesn't have any of the stuff like any of the egos or any of the, like, they became really selfish characters and all the things that we really hated about it.
Well, you have to give it time.
We have to give it time. It could go down that path.
When the three main actresses become producers.
Yeah. History's doomed to repeat itself.
Yeah.
Everyone's sort of boiled down to one character trait right now because they're trying to establish what everyone is. And I found that kind of a problem because, angry one is angry all the time. And
that
then with
got
Macy,
really grating.
Yeah. And with Macy, she had to just throw out science facts all the time to prove she's the science one. Like, oh, adrenaline doesn't make you do this. And, oh, yeah. Yee!
Yeah.
Well, that's what their next episode should be about, the dinosaurs and all that.
We did have Mr. Freeze in there. So what killed the dinosaurs? My bad acting!
Stupid Mr. Freeze. The effects on him, I don't know about that. The CGI with the full body CGI demon.
Right.
The rest of it I thought was okay. Like, it was better than what was in original Charmed, but not doing prosthetics with that, I don't know if it served them very well.
Yeah, it looked a little weird at times, like they're fighting a video game.
Yeah. His mouth bothered me. It didn't move very naturally, and I don't know if this is because they just maybe it saved money and time doing CGI rather than like a full body prosthetic. And probably not with that actor either. It didn't seem like he'd do too well under that much.
Yeah. The character traits, though, like being stuck in one mode was like really to the detriment of the story, I thought, at sometimes. Like when they meet their third sister, Macy, and just like Mel has no interest in the slightest and just like, I'm angry about it. Like,
I found it unusual that they never go into why she was abandoned.
Right.
I'm assuming they'll do it later, but the fact the characters never ask about it is strange.
Yeah, I feel like, yeah, maybe Macy will go into this abandonment with their mother at some point, but I thought, yeah, it was a really kind of asinine that she had no comments on that, even initially. Like,
she does talk about it, the fact she was left behind or abandoned or whatever, but,
but
I really
just,
question.
Like,
I mean,
the feelings behind that, like, you know, she just kind of like they're, oh, mother, like, yay, and they watch that little video of her on their phone, and they act like she was great. It's like, oh yeah, maybe she talked to me through a Ouija board once. I think she did. And like,
she seemed
that's
cool.
Real nice.
She was
it's
a
like,
nice lady.
Yeah, and she says something like that. She's like, oh yeah, she seems like she is great, or something like, yeah, besides her not having you in her life in the slightest, but maybe popping by to say hi on a Ouija board once. Like, don't you think she should have tried to be in your life a little bit more than that?
That would be an interesting dynamic too, to have her resent their mom a little bit. You know, the other two are very gung ho, like, you know, mom, and her just like, you know, I don't have that same connection because she left me behind.
Exactly. Like she
and maybe they'll do that later. You know,
maybe feel like she'd have to change a bit to go there after what they presented in the pilot. But
yeah,
like it would make sense that, you know, she's really interested in meeting her sisters, but yeah, still have that resentment towards her mother for not having her in her life.
Yeah, and I'm curious what the reason will be once they finally do get into it, because it doesn't appear to be the same backstory, the whole like white lighter thing. It's possible because the white lighter effects aren't really the same, so you wouldn't be able to tell just from her power, but it doesn't really seem like that's the case here. No. What if she was like part demon? That'd be interesting. Well, and still come off better than the original sisters.
Yeah. I had you with a demon, so you can't be in our lives.
That would make sense, though. You know, like she was ashamed or she was scared or, you know, whatever. Clearly it was some time while she was still living at that house, and she didn't seem...
It's because she's part scientist.
She's part dinosaur scientist.
Science!
There's a lot of exposition going on here. None more obvious than when they have just exposition dump Giles come in. Yeah. You know, they introduce their white lighter, they're clearly kind of going with the Watcher kind of thing from Buffy, which is what they were originally kind of being anyway. Right. He comes in, his name's Harry Potter. And he can think of no way to explain that they're witches, that their powers were unbound by their mom the night she died, all this stuff. No way to do it other than kidnap them, tie them to chairs.
Yeah.
And then do it. They have a giant monologue about this, but some of it's just sort of necessary to kind of get it out of the way. I feel like a lot of this stuff was introduced more slowly in the first incarnation of Charmed, but it was nicer to just get it out of the way now so you don't have to like, okay, we're catching up to where we already know that the series went. They have that twist at the end, though, where the Ouija board mom, because that's the only way she can contact the Ouija boards, I guess it's their mom, says don't trust Harry. Unless it's someone else pretending to be their mom.
Yeah, they don't know. Yeah, maybe she'll only contact them through Ouija boards until they just can't get rid of her, like Grandma Ghost in the original. It's like, oh great, Mom Ghost's here again.
If it was Grandma Ghost, we'd know right away, though, right? Like, she'd be like, down with the penis.
Yeah, or left something racist on.
Don't trust leprechauns. This had a very clear message here about the patriarchy. They were very clear on their themes with this concerning witch hunts and assault allegations and sexual harassment and rape culture. There's a lot of lip service to this. And that is, in fact, the plot of it. The ice demon professor is, they're protesting him because he just got off these assault charges for this girl that is in a coma and can't speak for herself. They should have called this episode Witch Hunt, you know. Yeah. But it's called Pilot.
Should have been called He's as Cold as Ice.
Yeah. He's willing to sacrifice our leads. What did you think about how they handled the messages in this concerning sexual harassment, sexism, stuff like that?
I don't know. I didn't think there was a lot. I mean, I didn't feel like it said anything much other than it's bad, which
well, it did echo a lot of things that are very topical right now. Like certainly like in the news right now, and it's more in the forefront, even though a lot of women have experienced this. It's not anything new, but I feel like sometimes it was heavy-handed with it, like when she goes to the party, when Mel goes there and then starts talking about rape culture and just yelling at people about it when nothing's really happening.
I was out of the room when that happened, I think, so.
Okay. It was kind of out of nowhere. Like, she goes to the party when their mom's gonna die, so this was the very beginning. She goes to the party to get Maggie, and she's trying to get her to come because she wasn't answering her phone, and she's like, well, what if I just talk to everyone about rape culture? And starts, like, yelling at some people making out on the couch, and it just didn't seem like it needed to be there.
Yeah, that's strange. Yeah, like, the stuff with the professor at least makes sense story-wise, but yeah, that seems odd.
Yeah, like, that part didn't make sense other than they were going to call back to it later. But no one was doing anything without consent that we could see. There wasn't anything happening that I felt warranted that speech. But but the rest of the stuff, I feel like it was better than the entirety of 8 seasons of Charmed before. Because their way of handling sexism was just like have a cartoonishly sexist dude show up and then turn them into a pig, and then like Phoebe is really self-righteous about like, you just don't like intimidating women. I'm powerful, the Phoebe one. Like, it kind of undercut their messages that like all of the dudes were cardboard cutouts and the women were just like kind of awful screechy hags and
yeah.
Like, at least here, the girls haven't been that well developed yet, but you felt like you liked them mostly. I did anyway. So it was kind of a mixed bag.
I'd have to see how they develop, because like some of the times I had like flashbacks to original Charmed with how they were acting, like in regards to the supernatural stuff, and there's like, anyway, I gotta go back to like the fraternity house or sorority or whatever. It's
That's such like, a Phoebe move, though, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And I was just like, and then she comes back and she's like, I was attacked by a demon dog. She's like, shh, I was making out with my girlfriend. Like,
yeah.
Well, your sister might have died, and you're like, shush, my girlfriend's here? Like, come on.
That, by the way, is more gay representation than the entirety of Charm before. Like, they lived in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And they had no acknowledgement that, like, gay people existed at all. But yeah, I think the difference here with the Phoebe equivalent with Maggie and her, like, I gotta go to the sorority and all this stuff. Yeah. They're treating it like it's bad, and she's supposed to be kind of young and reckless and learning some lessons about it, I think. I don't think it's supposed to be like with Phoebe and all them, where they acted kind of self-righteous about it. Like, I deserve to go on dates.
Oh, yeah.
I've done what I'm supposed to do. I save people all the time, even though they don't.
I just feel like, you absorb something that monumental in your life that it's so ridiculous to, like, a couple seconds later be like, anyway, sorority. Like,
yeah. It was kind of funny. I thought they had some funny bits to it, like when they kill the ice demon, and then it's like, oh, maybe we got to do something to, like, tear out his eyes or organs or something. And then, sometimes it just takes a little bit.
I thought it would have been funnier, though, if, like, they were expecting the body to explode and, Harry Potter told them, like, oh, no, you guys gotta find a way to dispose that. Like,
cut to them, like, carrying the body in a bag past the protesters. Like, oh, we're not carrying the body of the guy that you're protesting. We didn't just murder this guy.
So I was thinking anyway, as they're walking out, they're still protesting a guy. Like, oh, yeah, you can stop. We killed him.
Yeah, don't worry about it. He's dead. Yeah, what do people think happened, by the way? Like, all they find left behind is his chair and some ice chunklets on the floor with some blood. Like, they're like, what happened? Did one of these protesters
and they're all like,
kill him?
Yeah, if anyone noticed them, like, walking out with those big smiles on their face, like, looking really smug about it, like, so you're here to protest this guy, and now we find evidence of his death. It's still going to kind of look suspicious, isn't it? Like, even if they don't find anything, because, like, someone probably knew he was in there, right?
Yeah.
And then those three go in, and then he's missing after that.
Maybe it's one of those things where no one really feels bad that he's gone, Like, people notice and they're like,
yeah, he seemed like a piece of crap anyway, but... They're not being very stealthy. Maybe they shouldn't have walked back out the front like, yeah, we did it. We just killed that guy. What?
Yeah. And you knew from the trailer, like, that was going to be one of the final shots, them walking in slow-mo, like, yeah, down with the penis.
Like, what is, like... I thought, like, I don't know, if they didn't really do a whole lot, though, like, with the story of that guy doing that, like, because they just kill him and it's over, right? So that's what I was thinking when I was like, I didn't think there was any that strong of a statement about stuff, because I didn't realize the party thing happened.
Yeah, I get what they were doing, with the whole witch hunt parallels, especially with how prevalent that phrase has become with powerful white guys trying to excuse sexist behavior or, any sort of bigotry and stuff like that. So I got what they were doing with it. I think, like, you can't change society overnight the way, like, it's not like they're going to change what happened there other than killing the demon.
I just didn't think just didn't think there's a strong story, I guess, in regards to that.
Yeah, I think the story
it was easy for them because they were able to go in and get rid of him.
But I guess there's some satisfaction in that too, though, because there's so much injustice about it now that it feels like, you want to just see the guy get, thrown into chunklets on the floor.
Yeah, definitely.
Like Leo. Leo deserved to be ice chunklets. Step through his gooey remains.
He was history's greatest monster.
I do feel like they did cover some things that were kind of murky in the original Charmed, which is not that hard because there's a lot of stuff about it that was just murky in there. But the White Lighters can wipe people's memories now, and I know they had like the memory dust before, but now it's just they can just wave them away like Jedis or something.
Yeah, their roofie powers.
Their roofie powers.
They're gonna have to take him down. I mean, if that message came from their mom, maybe he is a monster and they'll have to kill Harry Potter.
He did take over the women's studies department. They were upset about that he was like the new professor of the women's studies department at the university. Yeah, he goes, you might have still been out of the room when this happened, but when he's introduced to Mel, he says that he read an article that she wrote about it, basically being upset that they had a man take over in that department. And he's like, oh, I felt like my penis was torn from my body. It was very good. Like, that's another one of those heavy-handed things again. Where it's like, all right, guys, you need to calm down.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a mixed bag in that, like, I thought they had a lot of, like, things that were stronger than what they did in the original series, but there are also some heavy-handed things. So
right.
It's about finding a balance there, I think.
Yeah, and I think maybe later in the series they'll be able to tell some more meaningful stories as long as they don't go in a dumb direction.
Yeah, it had to just be simplified here. I mean,
it's a pilot. So.
Yeah, but I did feel like it had more nuance than the original Charmed did, as far as, like, having the theme have more than one meaning and, trying to tell a deeper social message than, like, girl power. So, yeah, it just depends on how it goes. The story was simplified because they had a lot of exposition to get through and a lot of character development and a lot of, like, not even development, just establishing them. So they can go into more meaningful stuff later. I felt like it made the pacing really quick because you just had to get through everything in 42 minutes, so it's kind of rushing through everything.
Yeah, I think maybe since they're able to just cast demons out of people in this one, that they'll save more people than the original Charmed ones did.
It wouldn't be too hard, huh?
Yeah, I know. Like, they're already up one, I guess, since they cast a demon out from the guy in this one.
With the baking soda or the bleach or whatever.
Yeah.
What was that with, like, Macy's phone? Like, she's, like, analyzing it with an app or something? Like,
right.
Science! I will analyze the Goosebump dog slime and then find out what to do to cast this demon out.
Yeah, it was kind of weird.
I was like, what app is she looking at? The Demon Slime Analyzer app? The app for scientists?
Yeah, exactly.
She basically said, back off, man, I'm a scientist at one point. And that's good. Like, I like that they have a scientifically inclined character, so, like, she approaches it from that.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that she comes at things from a different angle.
Yeah, like, it gives a different perspective and, like, it differentiates them a little bit. I just feel like, it's bad writing if a science character just has to always, like, state sciencey things or, like, state that they're a scientist. Like, just have them be a person and also be smart or scientific. Right. I guess you don't have to be scientific to be smart, but,
Mm-hmm.
You can't, like, the whole thing about, like, adrenaline won't make you do this and do. Like, actually, like, you don't have to actually them about this. Shut up, Macy. Do you have any final thoughts about the premiere of Charmed?
As promised, could go either way.
Do you feel like it lived up to the legacy of the original Charmed?
No, which is a good thing for it.
It's gonna have a better legacy. I'm looking forward to watching more of it, honestly. Like, we'll see how it goes. Depending on how this podcast, videocast, whatever you want to call it, depending on how well it does, we'll do more of these. I don't know if it'll be every episode. It might be every other one and cover a couple at once. Just depends on the reception here. But if anyone listening likes it, just give a comment or an upvote or whatever people do nowadays. Those
Rate
kids.
5 and subscribe.
Send us some letters in the mail. Carrier pigeon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this has been Charmed Hard with a Vengeance. We'll see you guys around. The power of 3 will set us free.